Hi, my name is Maureen Glenn, and I'm going to be talking to you about a conversation we had at our NEARIMeet in Mary Immaculate College on the 15th of September this year. So we had a conversation around integrity, integrity in teaching, and integrity in educational action research. So one of the main things we had to think about was, what do we mean by integrity? And so as to help us think about the terms that we associate with integrity and what we understand by integrity, we asked ourselves, what are the terms that we associate with it? And we came up with ideas around truthfulness, honour, integrity in how we deal with people, and so on. And so the question we asked ourselves was, integrity is connected to a lot of other terms, and can we think of a few ourselves? We also looked at integrity in terms of expectations around professional conduct for teachers and people involved in education. And we looked at the Code of Professional Conduct that's given to us by the Teaching Council of Ireland, and it has 4 core values: care, respect, integrity and trust. And when it comes to integrity, it explains that honesty, reliability and moral action are embodied in integrity. Teachers exercise integrity through their professional commitments and responsibilities and actions. And there's also that whole idea of respecting the privacy of others and the confidentiality of information gained throughout professional work. And there's also that whole idea of avoiding conflict between professional work and private enterprise. Universities are governed as well by codes of professional conduct, of which integrity is part. And within that, people are asked to disclose outside interests that may be in conflict with the interests of the university. And it talks about giving and receiving gifts, competing, purchasing, complying with guidelines, and so on. When it comes to integrity in research, we looked at the National Policy Statement on ensuring research integrity in Ireland. And that's based on 8 principles which are drawn from the European Code of Conduct for Research Integrity. And those principles include impartiality, honesty, reliability, objectivity, open communication, duty of care, fairness and responsibility, and so on. And the expectations there are further, I suppose, compounded by the recommendations of the IUQB, who are part of the QQI now, who recommend that doctoral candidates should be inculcated with the norms and guidelines of plagiarism, how to avoid plagiarism, how to cite properly, the importance of explicit acknowledgement of other people's work, and so on. In the United Kingdom, researchers are governed by the Concordat to support research integrity, and that's based on 4 values: honesty, rigour, transparency, open communication, and care and respect. And while it's clear when we look at integrity, both in expectations around teaching and expectations around research, it has a lot to do with adhering to rules and regulations. And with research, it has to do with issues around plagiarism, misusing funding, misreporting, inappropriate research methods. And in general, it has a lot to do with rules and regulations and expectations of people to adhere to those regulations, and the implication that people will be chastised in some format if they do not abide by the rules and regulations therein. We then watched a video that was just a random video on YouTube about the interpretations and understandings of integrity. And some of the key terms we came across in their understanding of integrity was always doing what is right and good, being incapable of being false, and one cannot have partial integrity, partial honesty, or partial obedience. And so it seemed like a very black and white way to look at integrity. And then we looked at how Parker Palmer sees integrity. He sees integrity and identity as 2 key aspects of teaching. And he says teachers teach who they are. He says the teachers mirror, their teaching mirrors their soul, and their own identity shapes their teaching. And he sees integrity as the enactment of the identity of the teacher. And he talks about how identity and integrity are not the granite from which fictional heroes are hewn. They are the subtle dimensions of the complex and demanding lifelong process of self-discovery. He also says identity and integrity can never be fully named or known by anyone, including the person who bears them. They constitute that familiar strangeness we take with us to the grave, elusive realities that can be caught only occasionally out of the corner of the eye. So we can see it's a much more fluid interpretation of the term